What are the pros and cons of building a custom camper van? Whether you're building it yourself or having someone build it for you, there are a lot of things to consider and pitfalls to watch out for. Today, we're talking to Jonny Feld of Field Van, whose family has been in the custom van building business since 1989. The first question we're going to lead off with is, what considerations should you have when building a custom camper van?
Specific to everybody. And what I tell people, what's your first goal? Like, what is your main goal when you're getting this van? Is it going to be a comfortable bed? Is it maybe I want to have a bathroom shower on the road wherever I go? Or maybe it's you do dog shows and you need room for your dog crates. And so we kind of start there. It's like, what's most important? And then we kind of work our way down the list and say, okay, yeah, let's say it is. I want a comfortable bed. I want to have good sleep when I'm out camping. Then we're going to get the bed the size you want, and then we're going to go from there. Do you want a bathroom shower? Maybe they just do weekend trips and can use an outside shower, and that can save a lot of room on the inside. And then, yeah, just working our way through the priorities and making sure we check all the boxes that you need.
Regards to the chassis of the van, since there are so many choices, do you recommend that people pick the chassis first? Or like, how do you guide them through that process?
We kind of go through it all at once, really. So sometimes the options that you want on the inside or what you're going to do on the inside will determine what chassis is going to be best for you. So they do kind of work together. But yeah, we have to figure out what van we're going to be building on before we start building. So that is definitely one of the first things we need to get dialed in. And you're right, there are a lot of options. And everyone said, what's the best van? And there is no best van for everyone. There's a best van for each person. A lot of it can be your location. Do you have a Mercedes dealership nearby? Are you somewhere where you're 200 miles to the nearest Mercedes dealer and you have a Ford dealership in your backyard? So sometimes, things like that can drive a decision. But most of the time it does have to do with where you're going, who you're taking with you, what gear you're taking with you, and how long you're going to be out there. And that's where we start and determine which chassis is going to be best for you.
Now, are there certain things that customers will ask for and then later kind of either regret putting in or regret not putting in?
One of the big ones is the bathroom shower. So I have people say, we have this big bathroom and we never use it. It's like it's our closet now. And if we would have dedicated that space differently, I think we would enjoy our camper more. Air conditioning and stoves, permanent stoves on the inside are also something I have people kind of regret. They say, I never cook inside. I'm camping. I'm cooking outside. So having this stove on my counter doesn't make sense. And then I mentioned the heater. That's one that most people regret not getting if they didn't, because like I said, it really can extend your camping seasons. You can do some of the cold weather stuff and go places like Yosemite here in our backyard in the wintertime is gorgeous and a lot less crowded. So having that furnace there to keep you warm and keep your water system from freezing too is a pretty nice option.
What are some of the pitfalls that you normally see? And maybe not necessarily with your company, Field Van, but maybe with another company or other things that you've seen in the industry.
One mistake that most people make is trying to make this van perfect for every possible scenario. And that's just not going to happen. And our sales guy, Brian, he has a good analogy with that. He's like, Swiss Army knife, really cool. It does all these things, has all these gadgets. Not a great knife. You can find a better knife out there, but it does all these other things. And so when you're designing your van, again, maybe your main thing is I'm going to do weekend trips and it's going to be two of us and this is normally what's going to happen. Let's design it to that. But I'll have people go, well, what if, my cousins are in town and then, their kids have to come with us and then we're stuck and it starts raining and then, what are we going to do then? It's like, well, just deal with that. But don't change the whole plan of your van around this maybe what if scenario. And so you see that a lot. And so it's like dialing in and hey, let's make this perfect for 95% of the time. And then if it's not perfect for those one-off scenarios, you deal with it then. You definitely want to go to a reputable builder, someone who's been around. That they're going to have a warranty. That they're going to stand behind the work. And if problems do come up, that you have support there. I think that's very important. Having someone who's RVIA certified, so it's Recreational Vehicle Industry Association, and they send inspectors out and will randomly just come through our shop and make sure that we're building the code and everything is safe. Because you are living in these things and you're driving your kids or have your family sleeping in them. You want to make sure that everything is done safely and properly. And then it can go down to things like insurance. You need to make sure that company is recognized by JD Power, and you can get insurance and financing if you want to finance your RV. So those types of things are important when researching a builder.
You touched on it, but could you talk more in detail about the like registering the vehicle, insuring it, and financing it, and like what that means with a company like Field Van versus a company that's small and isn't recognized by, you said, JD Power?
Yeah, JD Power, and we're in like the NADA guide. It's kind of like the Kelly Blue Book, and so that's recognized by the banks. So if you do want to, get a lender and finance your van, it's important to have that as records for the banks there. And then from an insurance standpoint, it is important to be recognized there too. So you can make sure you get full replacement value, or at least the depreciated value that your van is worth. Because when you buy a van, it's a cargo van, it's empty. So, technically, based on the VIN number, it's just an empty cargo van. So when you go to insure that, you need to make sure that, one, you've reclassified it with your local DMV to be a Class B motorhome or a VC van camper. And then that will have impact on your insurance and your rates as well, because generally RVs and motorhomes have less instances as far as insurance companies are concerned. They pay out less on RVs than they do on typical passenger cars, and that's mainly because RVs are parked most of the time. Most people don't use their RVs as an everyday vehicle, but in the Class B and the van game, you can. And but that doesn't mean that you have to pay everyday vehicle insurance premiums. You can get a discount by classifying it as an RV.
In terms of custom versus going into an RV dealership and buying one of the big name brands, what would you say the advantages of getting something custom are? And the other kind of question to go along with that is, I know a lot of people, when they hear custom, they just see dollar signs. And is that in fact true? Is it going to be always more expensive than the big name brand?
Custom generally will be a bit more expensive because it just does take longer. When you're pumping out the same thing over and over, from both the labor, parts standpoint, it's going to be a lot more efficient. And so you are paying for that custom, that extra time that it takes from, the engineering, the design process down to, the people on the floor that are putting them together. So generally, yes, you are going to pay a little more for custom. And as far as the advantages, there might not be an advantage for you to go custom. I mean, there might be a cookie, and there's a reason, again, like a lot of these floor plans are popular and cookie cutter plans because they do work for a wide variety of people. But if it doesn't have room for your coffee maker, Joe, you might have to design something. Or again, I go back to a lot of the gear, the dogs, or we're building one for a police department that's going to be a drone, kind of like mobile station. So they fly the drones in now to crime scenes instead of sending dogs or people in harm's way. They can fly the drones in, and so that's obviously you're not going to go to an RV lot and find a drone command center van. And so, those types of things, obviously, you got to go custom. But when you're talking about motorhomes and Class B campers, you don't necessarily have to unless you have some very specific needs like that. When we do something custom, it's based along something we've done before or one of our standard models. And it might just be, I have a customer who's 6'7". And so, our typical 75-inch bed just isn't going to cut it. He really likes this floor plan, but what do we need to do to make this bed bigger? So we'll kind of take one of our base plans and then adjust the bed in that situation. Or it could be, we talked about dog crates earlier, specific gear. A lot of times that will make sense. It's like, okay, I need to customize this around my dog crates or my surfboards or windsurfing equipment. Camera equipment, and so if you do have very specific storage needs, I think that's a reason to go custom.
When we meet a lot of people at these van expos and overland expos, people will ask, we're a family of 5 or 6, and most of the standard cookie cutter vans that you find at the dealerships carry 2, 3, 4.
Yep.
So we usually say, well, you should check out the custom van space. Could you talk through a little bit maybe of some of the plans that you all have done for a bigger family? And because I remember seeing one van you had that had levels of sleeping.
Yeah, the transit.
That's right. Yeah. So that transit, yeah, that was in our Summit 2 plan. And it has that lower sofa that makes into a bed. And then just behind it and above it is a flare space bed that goes sideways. So kind of an elevated platform bed. And then, of course, with our famous pop top, you can expand the roof on that mid-roof transit or the low-roof Sprinter and get the extra sleeping bunk up there. And what's cool about that is it's still the short van. So this thing can literally seat and sleep six. It has all the amenities except the shower bathroom, so it does use the outside shower. But it has a porta potty, it has a refrigerator, stove, microwave, tons of storage, open floor space, and yeah, 3 separate beds and fits in a normal parking spot. So that is a pretty cool layout. And then we also do one on the extended Sprinter, so the 170 or 170 extended. We just had one go out where it had seating up in the front, a little galley, and then the same kind of bed situation, a sofa bed, and then a platform bed, and then we did the SCA high roof pop top on the 170. And so that thing, I think it could seat 8 and sleep up to 7 if you use the cool Luno cab bed. So yeah, it was pretty cool, and it was open and tons of gear. I really like that van.
I know you also, beyond just customizing the interior, you're also doing a lot with the exterior of the vans. And can you talk about that with your suspension systems and other things?
So we work with a lot of the manufacturers in the industry as far as suspension goes. You know, some of the popular names, of course, Agile Off Road and Van Compass. And so it boils down to our customers and what they want. And so we're able to offer a wide variety of those suspension systems. Invictus is another system that we're working with. And then Quigley 4x4, of course, we work closely with the people at Quigley, and they do a lift kit for the Sprinter, as well as four-wheel drive conversions on the two-wheel drives. A lift kit for the Transit all-wheel drive. And then they do 4x4 conversions on the Transits and the Chevy GMC vans. And then you have accessories. So you've got like a Luminous with their roof racks, and Owl vans with their nice boxes, and CA Tune with their front bumpers. And what's been fun seeing it, kind of to tack onto that, is seeing this van space grow. The people in the industry are getting better. So the roof racks are getting cooler, and the bumpers and winches and suspension systems. I mean, these guys are jumping these vans now. The last van show we went to, Van Compass, was getting air in their van, and I mean, it is unbelievable. They're like rallying these fully, 10,000 pound campers. So yeah, it's been fun to see the industry progress and to be able to offer, any number of those options to our customers, build them, the perfect van.
One question I had in terms of warranty is a lot of people mention that one of the reasons to go with a brand name RV, so to speak, or big name RV, is because they have warranty centers across the country and you can take it into any dealer that sells their product and get your warranty work done. How do you all deal with your warranty stuff when people are not around one of your two locations?
That's a very good question. Yeah, we've developed a good relationship with a number of RV repair centers, other van builders across the country. And so our warranty, we have the best warranty in the business with a 5-year unlimited mile. I got to throw that out there, 5-year unlimited mile warranty. And you can take it to your local RV repair center, and we would just work with their technicians to determine the cause of the issue, get the repair done, and get you on your way.
I want to talk about toilets for a moment. Do you have any advice or tips for people to consider when choosing what type of toilet, if they even want one in their van, from, like composting or a standard black tank to a porta potty?
So a lot of it depends on the amount of time you're going to be spending in your van. If you are full-time living in it, those composting options can be interesting. But if you're only using it periodically, the composting thing really doesn't work, right? Because it's something that you kind of constantly have to deal with. And so if you're going to park your van for 6 months and go take it out for a weekend, composting really isn't ideal. The porta potties are very inexpensive, easy to use. That's what I typically use are the basic Thetford porta potties that have their own contained tank. It's kind of like the cartridge style cassette toilets, but you can dump them down any toilet. And so what's nice about that is when I get home from my trip, I can just take that thing into my bathroom and pour it out and easily clean it. And then you have the marine toilets where you have to go to a dump station. And I don't know if you guys, I'm sure, have experienced dump stations in all your travels, but they're not the most fun thing to visit, especially if, after a busy weekend, you're a long line of people in front of you doing the same thing you're about to do. So I do have some customers that maybe have easy access to one locally, or they have that plumbed in at their home, so they can make that more convenient. But yeah, it really just boils down to that is, what facilities you have access to. Are you going to be in your van full time, or is it more of a weekend thing? And are there any trees nearby that could be a better alternative? They also have the cool, like the Lavios, where it's kind of like the bag toilets. So those are kind of I call it the rich people's porta potty, because they just a little more expensive, and you got to buy the bags and all that, but very convenient and very easy. Just dispose of the bags. Yeah, lots of options to have your butt covered.
Any other things that you might have thought of that you want to include?
Yeah, one more thing that we mentioned before you get into this, and it's a huge investment. Talk to people, go to the shows, rent one. There's rental platforms where you can rent a whole slew of different RVs and motorhomes, so you can try different things out there. But if you want to rent a field van, you can go to a company called Moterra. And they have some of our S1s, they have a few of our different models, and they have locations all over the country. And so you can go, try it out for a few nights or do a week trip and see if this is the right thing for you, or maybe try the pop top out and see how you like it. And that can also help when you're building your van. So if you've had that chance to camp, and maybe it won't be your third van, maybe you'll get it right on your first or second.
Now, for those of you who have owned a custom camper van, I would love to know what you would do differently in the next build. Leave us a comment down below and tell us all about it. If you would like to see the full interview with Jonny, head over to our podcast, RVing with Joe and Kate, and you can find it on pretty much every podcast platform out there. Now that is the end of the video. If you would like to see all of the custom camper vans that we've toured, check the description below and you'll find a link to them there. If you'd like to find more information about us and all of the things that we do, head over to our website at we'retherussos.com. And we will see you next time. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.